So I just made it back from vacation and it's time to hop back into it. And I wanted to start this off with a very important topic, and that is 10 groundbreaking fragrances that every man should at least smell. I'm not saying that every single guy out there should rush out and purchase a bottle and keep it in their collection forever and run the potential risk of never even wearing it, but I do think it is important that you try these, that you get your nose on them, that you smell them, because the fact of the matter is these 10 fragrances are not going to be going anywhere. These are still being talked about years and years later, and they're going to continue to be talked about years in the future. And trust me, I know what it feels like to be in the dark when you're first starting out with the whole fragrance hobby, and you hear people talk about this and that and this, and you have no idea what anything smells like, and you're just like, oh yeah, that one, and in your head you're like, oh yeah, I have no idea what that smells like. So do yourself a favor, get your nose on these 10 fragrances, and then you'll feel a bit more in the loop. You're going to hear these talked about all the time, and then you'll be able to chime in and say, oh yeah, I know this and that about that fragrance, I like it or I don't like it. And also, don't get me wrong, these 10 are all great scents, and they are worth owning if you enjoy them. So when I say you don't have to own all of them and everything like that, yeah, you don't have to, but if you do like them, they are worth a bottle purchase so that you can wear it and enjoy it. I personally own all of these, no surprise there, and I'm glad that I do. These are all great fragrances in their own regard, and that's why we're going to be going over them. And if you do want to grab any for yourself, I will link them down below to discounters. That way you can pick them up at a lot of times half off a retail price. Of course, that depends on the brand. And sometimes with these discounters, they do offer little sample vials that you can purchase through them, so that's an option as well if you just want to sample it. If not, you can go to your local department store, other decant websites, and so on, and buy samples that way. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. First up, no surprise, but it has to be in here, Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. Grapefruit, incense, and amber are some of the main notes. This right here was the start of something huge. Some of you are probably looking at Bleu de Chanel and are just, giving it the middle finger like, oh, look what this started. Others of you are giving it a thumbs up like, hey, nice, look at the trend that this thing started. Regardless of which side you fall on, Bleu de Chanel, this thing really set off the next big trend of men's fragrances, which is this whole blue ambroxan themed category. Chanel came out with their version, and then Dior came out with their version, and both of these releases went crazy popular and still are crazy popular. These fragrances just work. There's no way around it. There's no doubting it. Love them or hate them, they're here to stay. So you're going to hear people talk about Bleu de Chanel all the time. EDT, EDP, Parfum. I kind of put the EDP because typically that's kind of the main one. The Parfum is a bit different than the other two. EDT, EDP, relatively the same with some minor differences, but I would say mostly people are going to be gravitating towards the EDP, and that's kind of the one that gets talked about. I personally really like the Eau de Toilette as well. Just if you want to smell one though, just try the EDP and I'll give you a good idea. Even though it is very popular, even though it is kind of in that blue fresh category, I still love it and I still wear it relatively often. It's just classy and upscale and makes me feel good. Let's hop over to a release from Dior. Now you'll notice this video has all of the top big brand designers, and that's because, well, these brands have the most influence. They're the ones out here really pushing and creating new things and trendy things and popular things. The amount of influence and the amount of people that these brands can reach is absolutely crazy, and you may not think about it, and just even when you think about it, it still may not sink in just how much reach they have, but they have had these fragrances everywhere, and this is another one, to an extent, Dior Homme Intense. Iris, ambrette, and lavender are some of the main notes. So this one may seem like more of a fragrance community loved gem, whereas Bleu de Chanel the opposite, but honestly, outside of the community, Dior Homme Intense got very popular as well. It may not seem like it, but when you go out, this one surprisingly did catch on. Guys who are after something a bit different, guys who are after something luxurious and, a bit high-end, they were gravitating towards Dior Homme Intense for good reason. It's smooth, it's creamy, it's great for fall and winter time. This stuff here is a stunner. And unlike Bleu de Chanel, this one may excite you a little bit. If you're an enthusiast, a collector, and you're after something a bit more challenging to an extent, just something with a bit more substance and body to it, something that you can kind of dive into a little bit more, Dior Homme Intense is a fantastic option. And it's in this video for a reason. This stuff is not going anywhere. Nowhere. It came out officially in, what was it, 2007 or something like that. I think I'm going to be wrong on that one. But then they re-released it in 2011, and that's the version that you buy now. Well, actually, you buy the new version from Dior's website now, which I think is tweaked a little bit from what I've heard, but relatively stays the same. So yeah, it's been out for a while and not going anywhere. Again, for me, one of my personal favorites. I love how it smells. I love how it performs. I love it in the cool weather. Just kind of the winter air, fall air really kind of tames it down, and it smells amazing. This, again, not going anywhere. You might as well get your nose on it now, give it a smell, and kind of have an idea of what it's like. This next one from another top designer brand. This is going to be from Armani, and immediately you already know what it is, to an extent. This is Acqua di Gio Profumo. Now, obviously, you could put in the original as well, and, well, that's one that you definitely should be familiar with, but I would just say, just smell Profumo. The reason why is, well, one, because, you know, they are similar, for sure. It's a flanker. Profumo just has a bit of a smoky incense, a bit of a green earthy patchouli. It's just a darker version, but you still get the original DNA. And also because I think the original isn't really worth bothering with anymore. I really don't. There's so many better flankers. The original just doesn't perform, doesn't have the same magic as it used to. I would just kind of, you know, forget about that one. Go with some of the flankers like Profumo. This one here is a legend. It's one of the best signature scents for men. If you just want one fragrance that you can purchase and wear every day for any situation, this is one of them. And even to this day, if someone is looking for that, this is one that I'll recommend every time. It's just hard not to because it works so well. It does its job so well. And again, this one is not going anywhere, even though people get tired of it and all this and that. It's still being sold everywhere. It's still being popular. People are still loving it and wearing it. You might as well have an understanding of what it smells like. So that way when people are either loving or hating on it, you have an idea of what it smells like. So this next one is from a niche brand from Roja Parfums. This one is Creation E. Cognac, vanilla, and tobacco are some of the main notes. So this one is kind of in here because when it comes to a tobacco boozy scent, this has to be one of my favorites. There's just like a magic about this one. You know, it's kind of really how it is with all of the fragrances in this video, whether you want to admit it or not. Something that may be a bit more boring to you, like Bleu de Chanel, it has a magic appeal. You know, the way that grapefruit and that incense works together, I mean, it is legendary, it is iconic, and it works so well. It's kind of the magic behind that one. And here with this Roja, it's the kind of Coca-Cola, fizzy, boozy, sparkling sweetness that this one puts off that makes it so different, you know, because it is strange. It is a heavier sweet scent from the vanilla, the tobacco, the cognac, right? All heavy sweet notes, but at the same time, it's got a fresh sparkle. It's got a little bit of a Coca-Cola fizzy pop, and that makes it very cool. If you look at the note breakdown and you may think that's going to be a bit too heavy and rich and dense and sweet for you, think again. You know, it has that fresh pop, and that makes it very versatile and very likable. For me, this is one that I love to wear out to dinners in the wintertime, something a bit more dressed up. I'll wear this one and basically be 100% sure that I'm going to be one of the best smelling people there. It may sound a bit, you know, egotistical, but it's just kind of the truth when you wear something like this. It smells amazing, and no one else around you is going to be wearing it. They're not going to have any idea what it is, and they're going to want to know more. It is expensive, but at least do yourself a favor and try it. You can get it at Twisted Lily, either in the Parfum Cologne or in the Parfum. And I think between the two, you can also get like the sample size as well. So you could try it without committing to that full bottle. Whatever you do, use my code CHAOS10 for 10% off. That works site-wide on Twisted Lily, always active, works for everything. Make sure you take advantage of that. Next up, Bottega Veneta Pour Homme. Just the original here, but you could put in the extreme as well. Pine, leather, fir, and juniper are some of the main notes. So this is such a great, great scent. And for me, fragrances like this really resonate with me because it has a woody, masculine, outdoor type of smell. I love the outdoors. I love kind of being in the woods and the trees, that sort of thing, just being outside. And this legitimately smells like that. It smells like you are out in nature, in the woods, and it's because of the way the fir and the pine trees notes in there, and kind of the juniper berries as well gives a bit of a different twist. It just smells masculine, smells woody, and this is everything you would want in a masculine fragrance. Some of the other ones in here not really masculine. Dior Homme Intense, yeah, I can't really argue and say that that one's the most masculine scent ever. So if you want something that is a bit more traditional in the sense that it is woody and masculine and rugged, Bottega Veneta Pour Homme is the perfect option. Smells fantastic. It is kind of a aromatic fougere scent to some extent, although not fully. You know, it's not a barbershop, but it kind of gives off a similar vibe in terms of its maturity level and just kind of the blend that it has going on. For me, I love it. One of my favorites. The Extreme is really good too, and also I believe it's the Parfum, or the next level up there in terms of the flanker line, is really great as well. I miss this stuff. I want to wear it. I just don't know where it is, but I will find it, and hopefully by then it'll be a bit cooler outside, fall and winter, you know, spring and fall. That's perfect time for this stuff. Next up, a fragrance from Dolce Gabbana. Should be no surprise either. The One Eau de Parfum. Tobacco, amber, and ginger, along with a bit of a grapefruit, are going to be some of the main notes here. The grapefruit comes in up top, more present in the EDT than the EDP in my opinion. It's really all about the tobacco and the amber. Nice masculine tobacco, nice warm amber, a bit of a spicy ginger. This is one of the best date night fragrances that you can purchase on the designer side for men. Still to this day. I would say this and La Nuit de l'Homme are two of the best date fragrances that were ever made for men. Seriously, I mean, they are both extremely popular. Everyone knows them, everyone wears them. I still think that they're some of the best date fragrances. They just work so well, and this DNA, or the two DNAs I guess that I'm talking about here, are magical. Surprisingly enough, I didn't put La Nuit de l'Homme in this list, but yeah, you could definitely put it in here as well, and maybe we'll tie the two together here, because they both do kind of do a similar thing, even though they smell completely different. Try them both. They're both amazing, and I would say these two you'll definitely want to own a bottle of after you smell them, because you're going to be hooked, and you're going to be a believer. Not a believer, a believer. Come on. Next up, we have the Office Gentleman Scent, Terre d'Hermès Eau de Toilette. Orange, pepper, and vetiver are some of the main notes. Dirty, earthy orange. That's all you need to know. Heard it a million times. I'm going to say it one more time. Dirty, earthy orange. That's the only way you can describe this. If you describe it any other way, you will be shamed. Really though, it's an orange vetiver scent with a peppery spiciness. It has more of a mature feel to it, so it's not going to be for everyone, but if you do want a nice, classy office scent, this one here is really hard to beat. So we have another Armani fragrance up next. This brand has really done some amazing stuff. With this one here, it is a flanker, but it is Armani Code Profumo. Tonka bean, amber, and leather are some of the main notes. Yeah, no surprise here. This is kind of one of those clubbing, party, popular fragrances, kind of similar to the same effect that Versace Eros has, which also didn't make it in this video, but easily could have. So many different things to choose from, but I could do a part 2 to this and include so much more. I could probably even do a part 3 as well. But yeah, Code Profumo, it's known for having this root beer type of smell, which I get to some extent. Very sweet, very loud, great party and club scent, especially for younger guys. If you're someone in college and you want to hit all the bars and the clubs and the parties, this is going to be your best friend. Just give it a shot, trust me. Running down to the end, second to last fragrance, Spice Bomb Eau de Toilette. Cinnamon, pink pepper, and tobacco are some of the main notes. I've talked about this one tons of times here on the channel. It's popular for a couple of reasons. One, let's just get it out of the way, the marketing. Don't tell me that the marketing behind this fragrance isn't one of the main reasons why it is so successful. And that is not at all me saying anything that is bad about the scent, because no surprise, I love Spice Bomb, the Eau de Toilette, even still. I love how it smells. The Eau de Toilette and the Extreme are a couple of my favorite designer scents. They are fantastic. So I'm not saying that, oh, it's just the marketing that made it popular, but come on. Grenade bottle, pull the tab, it looks cool. I'm sure it had a lot of ads back in the day when it first came out. Come on, people want the grenade bottle. You have to admit that's at least one of the reasons. That's one of the main reasons that contributed to the mass amount of success that this scent had. And second up, of course, the scent. It's a great smelling scent. Guys like it because it is sweet and spicy and loud and in your face. And people who are a bit more outgoing and boisterous are going to love this fragrance because it kind of, it kind of helps their personality and it goes well with it. You could choose a fragrance that is a bit more refined if you're a bit more quiet, or if you're a bit more loud and outgoing, you could choose something like this and it's going to amplify that and it's going to fit in really well. Great in fall, great in wintertime. It's playful, it's fun, it's sexy, it's a compliment beast. what's not to love about Spice Bomb? You have to at least try it to appreciate it and also just have an understanding of what you're in for. And last up, we have Sauvage, Eau Sauvage Parfum by Dior. Ginger, citron, vetiver, bergamot are some of the main notes. Very vetiver heavy. This one is very mature, and it's got like a money smell, like a high money smell. Like you would imagine a guy wearing this to be pretty well off, be pretty wealthy. There's just something about it. The way the vetiver works in here, the way the citrus kind of goes together. It definitely has an old school smell for sure. It is an Eau Sauvage flanker, but there's something about it that just screams money. That's kind of what this stuff smells like. Seriously, it's weird, but if you smell it, you may think the same thing, or you may think I'm crazy. Either of the two, but I've heard both. Great fragrance, though. I really do enjoy it. It's not one that I wear all the time because it is a bit older, and it kind of depends on the mood for me. If I'm going out doing something a bit more fun and casual, I'm not going to be wearing this. Something a bit more dressed up, I'll pull it off. I do think you should at least smell it, though. Get an idea of what it smells like and just kind of have an understanding of what it's all about. Really nice scent, and if you are someone after something a bit more mature and masculine, look no further. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. That is 10 groundbreaking men's fragrances that every guy should at least smell. And again, I would say all of these are at least worth owning if you actually like it. And if you do want to grab a bottle for yourself, it will be linked down below to discounters. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. The sun is scorching my back. Very hot. Take care.